What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So, I got a lot of requests from the Lucksters here in the Lady Luck Club to do a, I guess, live stream of the CNN interview with Candace only. So, I can do that. I will show you guys the CNN interview with Candace with no commentary. Yay! I've already gone over it because this is my channel and it's the beauty of being able to do that. But I do want to make sure that my Lucksters are taken care of. To the candy asses, I don't care what you people want. Why don't you all get Candace Owens to give you the full, raw, unedited interview? All right. Even though you're going to be watching, but you're going to have to hear my voice. It's just what it is. But what I will be is in the chat, just occasionally checking in with you all, so you guys see how you guys doing. It's not that long, so we're just going to go ahead and stream the actual interview. No commentary, you guys. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all for the views, the likes, the comments, the engagement. I appreciate it all. I'm humbled, and it warms my heart to know that you guys, want to rock with me here in the Lady Luck Club. There's so many content creators out there, and you guys choose to click on my video, and it is a absolute blessing. You have no idea. So, as we push towards getting 30,000 supporters, hopefully by the end of this week, miracles happen every day. I'm like 900, maybe 800 supporters away from that. So, I mean, I could literally be looking at 30,000 supporters really soon. And with 1 billion on the YouTube platform, it is not impossible. So I'm excited. Hit the like button, subscribe to the Lady Luck Club, and enjoy this video of the interview with Candace Owens and CNN. Shout out to all of you all. Thank you so much. Hey, Jesus, come now. Hey, Amy, how you doing? All right, y'all ready? Let's get to it. I'm just going to play the video, and that's going to be this episode. Let's go.
I think this cult still exists. That's what I'm
And
telling
like
you.
in our government.
At the higher up, yeah, absolutely.
Candace Owens has a lot of ideas about how the world really works. Her podcast is drawing millions of viewers for celebrity gossip and her theories about Charlie Kirk and Jeffrey Epstein. But some of those ideas are anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that I recognize from covering white nationalism for 10 years.
All right, guys, happy Monday. Happy Friday. Get ready because we are going on a journey.
This summer, you've had 3 heads of state respond to you.
Yeah.
Right? You've been sued by the president of France.
I have.
By your retelling, President Trump called you and asked you to lay off calling the president of France's wife a man so it could finish Ukraine negotiations.
Pick up the phone. It is President Donald J. Trump. He is calling me.
And then recently, the Prime Minister of Israel maybe indirectly responded to your and other claims that in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, he was distancing himself from Israel or softening in his support.
I would only dispute the last claim.
Okay.
I don't know what he was responding to, really.
We're talking to her now because she's having a huge impact on political discourse. Powerful people are responding to her, and more people than ever are listening to her.
Candace Owens do be making sense.
Over the last month, she has at times been the #1 trending podcast, the 4th most popular news podcast.
I swear every time she has a podcast drop, I'm just like mind blown. Y'all may think Candace is crazy, but she's onto something.
For years, Owens was known mostly within conservative groups aimed at young people. Her first big job was with Turning Point in 2017. Last March, she was fired from the Daily Wire amid a dispute with colleagues over Israel and charges of anti-Semitism. She launched her independent podcast a few months later, and her conspiratorial deep dives, where she sometimes builds guilt through association between very loosely connected people, companies, or whole countries, have drawn people deeper down the Candace rabbit hole.
We don't know now, but we know, you know? We don't know, but we know.
Since Charlie Kirk's death, Owens has had some of her most popular episodes. as she's claimed law enforcement is covering up a conspiracy.
Rest now, brother. We have the watch.
Kirk's legacy has become a battleground for the fight within MAGA over Israel. Owens has been the principal driver of this story, with her claims that Kirk was angry about pressure he felt from pro-Israel allies and donors to disinvite Israel critics from his conferences.
You've talked about conflicts with donors.
They were threatening him. There's no other way to say it. And it's, I think, shameful that some of the Turning Point people don't speak out more about it. We all know what was going on behind the scenes. And Charlie was being threatened financially. He felt he was being morally threatened. He felt they were trying to control who he could have speak at his conferences. About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself? And then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion could happen?
Owens posted group chat messages from Kirk saying a Jewish donor had pulled a $2 million donation, and he felt no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Turning Point confirmed the texts were real and said Kirk disagreed with Owens on Israel. There's no evidence donors or Israel had anything to do with Kirk's death, and Owens has not claimed that Israel killed Kirk. But she has spent a lot of time talking about donors and Israel and betrayal in the context of his death.
So what are we to make of that?
When you say you believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone close to him, what do you mean?
I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. Whether he was involved, I think the answer is yes. I think that's obvious.
And your basis for saying he didn't act alone is what?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things. Their lack of an ability to answer any basic questions about what took place.
But do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
The indictment calls them text messages.
What would it be like the feds are like on a computer, like typing it out back and forth?
That's exactly what it is. The feds made up the text messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that, or law
I have
enforcement?
leaks.
Okay.
No.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And Tyler Robinson
But has anyone said to you, even off the record, like, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides, from Lance to Robinson's family to federal government, and I am making the statement that those text messages were made up and that they did not come from Tyler Robinson.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing the evidence of that.
Sure. Because when we keep talking about evidence, it's like, who's going to present that evidence? Like the mainstream media? Like who are you expecting to come out?
That would be a hot story.
No, it wouldn't be, because, you know.
It would be.
It wouldn't be.
If the FBI, like if I had a source telling me, like if I had proof that the FBI faked those messages, that would be an enormous story.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we live in a post-Epstein world, and we know how stories get shut down.
For years, some in MAGA believed there was a deep state cover-up protecting Jeffrey Epstein's powerful friends. In July, when the FBI said the case was over, suddenly it seemed to some supporters as if Trump wasn't fighting the cover-up, but was a part of it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Maybe recent events have changed this, but you said this summer that Epstein was your number one issue.
Mhm.
Why is Epstein so important, especially in the MAGA world?
It's important because multiple people in Trump's administration came out and said, here's what we're going to do when we get into office. We're going to release everything about Epstein, and then we were gaslit about it. And so it was this major sigh, this major letdown about the promises made and the promises that weren't kept. And this particular issue is a hot button issue because it involves children. This is not a guy who you have to imagine whether or not he was guilty. He pled guilty in a plea deal with Acosta.
Owens often claims that Epstein worked for Israeli intelligence, which a former prime minister of Israel has denied. It is yet another allegation that has been driving the internet MAGA fight over Israel. But the biggest story to do that, of course, is the war in Gaza. Over the last year, a majority of young Americans have turned against Israel over the war, including many conservatives. And Owens has drawn in viewers with criticism of that war. And some of it sounds reasonable, such as objecting to the scale of destruction and human suffering, especially children. But she brings with it conspiracy theories that have roots in dark places.
The issue of Israel is dividing the MAGA base.
I don't think it is anymore. I think we're actually quite united against Israel now. Not the politicians, but the people.
If you look at polls broadly, there is a really strong generational divide.
Yeah, I think Megan said it best when she said nobody under 30 likes Israel.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you can, like, we have different audiences,
Mhm.
right? Help my audience understand how and why and in what way that issue is so important.
When people notice what you're doing and you gaslight people and tell them that it's not happening, and then you think that you can just finance and blackmail us into a new reality, it tends to upset people. Like, we're watching what's happening in Gaza, and you're going to keep telling us this is about October 7th, and that October 7th started on October 7th. And then when people say reasonable things, and this is kind of one of the last things that Charlie said, totally reasonable things, you know, AIPAC should have to register under FARA, that I believe my own eyes of what's happening. And I have questions about this. And your response to that is to smear and to libel and to try to ruin people's lives. Then you shouldn't be surprised when people look at you like what you are, which is demonic.
And what do you think is happening in Gaza?
It's very clearly a Holocaust and a genocide.
A UN commission has said that it's a genocide. An association of genocide scholars has said it's a genocide.
Mm-hmm.
Israel says that it's acting within the bounds of the law and it's acting in self-defense after October 7th. Some of the people who agree with Israel are your old allies in the conservative movement, like Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee. You went on his podcast many times.
Mm-hmm.
He says there's no famine in Gaza. Mm-hmm. So who changed?
So anybody right after October 7th who supported Israel and their efforts, totally understandable. Like, there had to have been some sort of a reasonable response. Anybody who, what are we, 2 years, October 23rd, 2 years into this, is still supporting Israel, looking at what they've done, has to be a psychopath, in my viewpoint.
So Mike Huckabee is a psychopath, in your view?
You either have to be blackmailed, you have to be fearful for your life, or you have to be a psychopath.
Asked for comment, Huckabee told CNN, "I will be praying for Candace. It's sad to see her self-destruct."
In 2018, you went to the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
Your tweets from the time.
I worked for PragerU.
Your tweets are very pro-Israel from the time. You're even mocking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for believing that Palestine is an occupied country.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you come to change your mind on that?
I was completely, like I think most American citizens, since you've seen how much support for Israel has plummeted quickly, we realized how brainwashed we were, how lied to we were about what was happening in that region. And obviously in politics, my first allies, everyone that was supporting Turning Point, and then I worked for PragerU, were all Zionists. And so they were the ones that were, quote unquote, educating me about what was going on. Obviously, that was a world before October 7th. So I think my concern at that time was like, Black Lives Matter in America. I didn't really care about what was happening in the Middle East. I wanted to support Trump. And so the issue itself felt so satellite. And then kind of the chickens came home to roost, and they were demanding that you have an opinion, that you say certain things. So I was like, oh, I better get educated about this, like really focus on that. And when I began to focus on it, I'm genuinely shocked, and I'm in equal parts ashamed that I ever supported Zionism. I think it's a demonic, Kabbalistic philosophy, and God will have his vengeance on those that are still supporting it.
And do you mean that literally demonic?
Demonic, literally. Demons, yeah.
As you know, you've been criticized for being anti-Semitic.
Well, it's not kind of weird, because 4 seconds ago you were talking about how I went to Jerusalem and I worked for PragerU. So something changed. I don't think I woke up one day and decided to hate Jews. I hate what Israel's doing. I think Jewish people, as many who have, should use their platforms to speak out against it. If you are a person who just follows the first 5 books of my Bible, there's no way that you could support what's happening in Israel. And if you are a person who does support it, then you don't follow the first 5 books of my Bible.
Owens sometimes deflects criticism that she dabbles in anti-Semitism by saying Israel supporters charge that any criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. I've spent a lot of time covering white nationalists at their rallies, trials, and in hundreds of hours of phone calls. Just a month after October 7th, some, like this writer at a white nationalist website, began talking about how there was an unmet demand for criticism of Israel. And if the mainstream wouldn't fulfill it, extremists would. After listening to over 100 hours of Owens' podcast, certain terms kept catching my ear.
Trump is controlled by Zionists. I feel like we're an occupied nation. And now what's happening? Well, we have an occupied administration. There's no question. Trump is occupied by Zionists. Okay. He's completely impotent. He's completely powerless. He cannot say anything that goes against Israel or Bibi Netanyahu. He's letting them do whatever they want.
You can criticize Netanyahu without being anti-Israel, and you can criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic. But some of the themes, talking points, concepts you've used in your criticism of Israel, I'm very familiar with from covering white nationalists for 10 years. It's very unsettling for me to hear things like you saying our government is occupied by Zionists, Trump is occupied by Zionists, we're an occupied nation, because like there's literally a term that's like an 80s, 90s term from white nationalism, ZOG, Zionist occupied government. It's their idea that Jews control the world. And I'm wondering, like, are you intentionally referencing those kind of themes?
Wait, just to slow this down. Are you accusing me of white nationalist rhetoric? Because I do have to have a little bit of a giggle about that first.
Well, I mean, to me, I'm also like, they'd be no fan of yours.
It's silly. But this is one of the things where I feel like it's such a lesson for CNN. This is why nobody watches it anymore. I mean, it's like you're sitting across from a black person. You're like, I've learned about white nationalism, and you're using white nationalism.
Like I know them. I've been to their rallies. I've read all their texts.
I get it. I know. I'm so glad you're educated. But this is when it's like, put it in a book and anybody will say it. It's like, it's just at a certain point, you have to use your eyes and go, is Candace Owens promoting white nationalist rhetoric? Okay. Immediately no. So what else could it be? Could it be that actually Zionism is what it actually represents?
What does that mean? Like,
Zionism is a political philosophy.
Zionist occupied government.
If you look into the history, yes, I believe we are a Zionist occupied government, and we're not the only one. Okay, yes, and I take it to the bank. If you need to walk out of here and say Candace Owens is a white nationalist for you to be able to digest it, then that's fine. You know, you have to deal with that in your own time. But what I will say is,
maybe this
I
stuff is
stand
ambient,
by.
and that's where you
I stand by
picked it up.
every statement that I made, and I want to double down on it. Okay, America is occupied by Zionists.
The Zionist occupied government meme is so old it predates memes. Here's the Wikipedia entry. Here's an archive of the most fascist board on 4chan, over 450,000 results. Here are the results from the old school white nationalist message board Stormfront. There are academic books about it. There are crank books about it. It was mentioned in a congressional hearing in the 90s.
Did they define what they meant by Zionist occupied government?
The government of the United States of America.
Occupied by whom?
The Jewish community.
There's another theory she talks about, the Khazar Empire.
Yeah, the Khazarians just decided to pretend they were Jewish, according to their research in the 8th century.
The Khazar theory is an obscure conspiracy theory suggesting that Ashkenazi Jews, those of Eastern European descent, are not the true Jewish people, but instead are descended from a Turkic people who converted about 1,000 years ago. It's been widely discredited by geneticists and historians, but the idea persists because anti-Semites find it makes useful propaganda when denying Jewish claims to Israel.
I talked to 5 current and former white nationalists about several of the concepts you talk about. The Khazar conspiracy theory, which is this idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from this Turkic people, people in...
It's not a conspiracy.
It is disputed.
It's not disputed. It was written by them in their own books, and they got rid of their books.
It was written by a Jewish person.
Not a Jewish person, an Israeli.
Disputed by
and he was awarded
DNA evidence,
and he started a department at
Tel
Tel Aviv University, and they've never taken his award back. Okay, you can't just. This is what I mean.
But
you can't just
modern
like
science now.
Modern science. Okay, the same people that control the science are the people that are writing the books. Their own history book said we are the Khazars. A magic empire didn't disappear in the 8th century.
This is what
I'm talking about Jewish people, Ashkenazi Jews, just so we can, this who is they thing has got to stop. I'm talking about Ashkenazi Jews. I'm talking about the people that established Israel as a nation.
Owens also talks about a group called the Frankists, a heretical Jewish sect that did exist beginning in Eastern Europe in the 1700s. They had weird sex rituals. Some conspiracy theorists claim Frankists are an ongoing cult that has infiltrated the highest levels of society and manipulates world events. One of the most persistent anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
Everywhere I look, I'm starting to try to chase this like Frankist movement. Where is it? Its tentacles are everywhere.
Owens claims there are current practicing Frankists in the government right now, a claim for which there is no evidence.
Does Trump? Does like our State Department?
No,
Like, do you think they're controlled by Frankists?
What I said to you is you can pick your lane in terms of the people who would get behind and support a man who raped children.
What?
Are these people being blackmailed? Are these people terrified? Or are these people psychopaths? You can sort them into those buckets. I don't really have the time to. What I'm here to tell you is what I actually believe.
These people all say that you are doing a speed run through like old school white nationalist conspiracy
All right, well,
theories.
then I guess I'm a white nationalist.
I'm not saying you're a white nationalist.
then
I'm
what are you
saying
saying?
these are anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that have long been a propaganda tactic to delegitimize Jews, to make them seem like a scary, secretive cabal that is controlling
There are
everything.
tons of Jewish people who are speaking out against what's happening in Israel. And
that's
I do
different.
believe people in Israel who founded Israel, people like Theodore Herzl, were actually Frankists.
We talked about Frankists a lot, for a total of 8 minutes and 25 seconds.
So yeah, I think this cult still exists. That's what I'm
And
telling
like
you.
in our government.
At the higher, yeah, absolutely.
Do you think it
The deep state
motivates
for sure.
Zionism?
Hmm?
Do you think it is a motivation for Zionism?
Well, I think it's weird that so many Zionists I know keep defending children being raped. Doesn't make me comfortable.
Who is defending children
Any
being raped?
person that is defending Jeffrey Epstein.
I want to look at this more big picture, right? So people have accused you of like your criticism of the war in Gaza as being motivated by anti-Semitism, which you deny. Can you look at it from a different perspective? Like, are you delegitimizing criticism of the war in Gaza by tying it to these conspiracy theories about like Frankists and things that
I didn't tie it to those conspiracies. What's happening in Gaza is wrong, and any person that can't acknowledge that is either being blackmailed, is either a psychopath, or they're feared for their life. What's happening in Gaza, I can see with my own eyes. It's not a conspiracy theory, and by calling everything a conspiracy theory doesn't make it so.
I feel like you actually got more careful with your language, because when I first started listening, I'd be like, who's they, Candace? You'd be like, they want you to believe this. They want you to believe that.
Why do you say who is they?
Exactly.
It's a word. Like, so why do you
But
people
I
do
know
that?
I'm not the only one, because you addressed it on one of your podcasts. You're like, you guys are always saying, who's they? Well, I mean, Israel, not Jews.
No, but like, it's just,
You
they is a
have addressed
word.
it.
They is a word. So like, I don't need to always like say they. Like, it's just a weird, it's like, this is one of these psychology tactics where you're like, who is they? Who is they? And it's like,
Because it sounds like you're saying Jews.
does the word they mean Jews?
When you're talking about Jews, yes.
But if I'm not talking about Jews, then they doesn't mean Jews. When I say they want us to believe this or they want us to believe that, and you hear Jews, that's your own derangement, right? If I want to say something about Jews, I'll say it. If I want to say something about Israel, I will say it. If I want to, just like when I want to say something about Black people, I'll say it. When I was saying during BLM, they want us to believe, nobody said, do you mean Jews? And so again, it's one of these trash tactics to make people fearful to speak. If I want to say Jews, I will say Jews. I don't fear saying Jews. When I say Zionists run the media, I mean Zionists run the media. People that support the political ideology of Israel run the media. Any other things that I can help clarify?
But are you familiar with this like very long-standing trope?
Couldn't
that
give a
Jews-
shit about a trope. Literally, please don't even go down the line. It's so boring for me. It is so racist trope, anti-Semitic tropes, all strategies to get us fearful to speak. I want the world to know.
I'm telling you, these white nationalists, Candace, like, I'm not, like, seriously.
I have to tell you something also. You're white, so if the white nationalists are here in the room with you right now,
No,
I
I
should
talked
be
to them
more
on the phone
fearful.
and they laugh.
Okay, because
Including one you interviewed.
by the way,
Nick Fuentes.
they should laugh because what you
They laugh at the tropes that you are putting out. They're like, that is lowbrow stuff.
Okay.
These are people who, 3 of them, were literally doing Nazi salutes 10 years ago.
Okay.
And they are laughing at some of those tropes you put out because they think it's lowbrow and too far out there.
I
Like,
don't
it's
know.
too crazy for people who threw up Nazi salutes.
Okay.
You are like putting out into the world this like connection between these like really ugly ideas and criticism of a war that can be valid.
I said what I meant. If you'd like me to clarify any statements that I made, I'd be happy to do it. but trying to do some roundabout way of being like, well, Nick Fuentes held a Nazi symbol and he says it. I don't care about what Nick Fuentes said. I don't care about your feelings.
Well, you
I
have
think
changed your mind. You changed your mind about Israel.
Yeah, I did. But here's the thing. I think you're trying like a hatchet job at psychology, and I don't want to waste your time.
It's not about psychology.
Well, I know, but like,
this
I
is
don't.
about like
I
reality.
want to help focus you. You're not going to be able to get even 1 inch on my perspectives on Israel. You're not going to be able to get me to believe or invest in some trope that I am saying that what they are doing is wrong and that the government is demonic. So if you have anything else you'd like to talk about, I don't want you to spend your whole hour, trying to draw blood when you're not going to get it.
When you say, you have also said Israel is a demonic nation.
Yes.
Okay.
Demonic.
People,
I've said that several
when
times.
you mean this literally, right?
Like literally possessed by
explain-
a demon, okay, to shed that much blood, and then to have people that willfully gaslight people about that. It can be only a demon, a full satanic possession has to descend, and that's what's happening. So anything else I can help clarify?
Owens has a long history of being provocative. Her upcoming book is called Make Him a Sandwich. And earlier this year, Owens gained a tremendous amount of fame with an 8-part series claiming Brigitte Macron was born a man, that she was actually her own brother, and stole Brigitte's identity in the 80s. The Macrons denied it, Owens doubled down, and they sued her for defamation in July. Her series builds suspicion through association, with a wide cast of characters from a fashion designer to an ancient Roman statue dug up in the Macrons' hometown. But for her core claim that Brigitte isn't a woman, there's no proof.
Why does it matter?
It matters because it is government corruption. It's the same reason the Epstein story matters, and it matters because children were harmed.
But you're not accusing Brigitte of harming children.
Actually, Macron, it's statutory rape, and that's what we're going to court over. So yeah,
You're not going to court over the fact that she got together with Emmanuel Macron when he was 15. They admit that.
I'm saying that actually Emmanuel was 14, and it was statutory rape.
The Macrons say this is false, and that they met when Brigitte was 39 and Emmanuel was 15. The lawsuit says they informed Owens it was false in a December letter.
Do you think you'll be victorious in court?
Yeah, because truth is a defense against defamation, and I'm telling the truth.
We asked the White House for comment on Owens' claims about President Trump. The White House did not respond. Turning Point also did not respond to our request for comment. Candace Owens reflects the reality of the new media ecosystem we live in. Whether you think that's great or terrible, it's the way it is. There's a temptation to treat figures like her as fringe players not worthy of attention, but we do that at our own peril.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was the full interview that many of you have been asking for. And I wanted to make sure that I was able to at least get that out. I asked that you all not spam the chat. I didn't mean to say don't speak. I meant to say do not spam. Saying, weird random things, I'm not in the mood to fight YouTube. So we have to have guidelines in place. And I know there's some bots and, cult members that don't care about the rule of law, but I do. And I appreciate all of you all for tuning in. Thank you so much. This is something I've already reacted to. I've already given my commentary on, but I just wanted to just do the video stream without commentary during the video. And then that way you guys can see the full interview and then go from there. So let me know what you think. Don't spam the video comments either. YouTube is blocking stuff, people. And I have a regular job. I work too hard to come up, with the content and the live shows, the things that I discuss, only for it to end up being, either flagged or less monetized or just completely blocked because of spam comments. Like it's unnecessary. Either have something intellectual to say or share something you've read, or saying that you hate Israel and all this. That's unnecessary. I don't care if someone hates or loves a country. All right, so I appreciate all of you all for tuning in. Either way, hit the like button on the way out, and we will be live this afternoon I'm probably going to do Umar first and then Candace second with her live show, and we will react to that. Any other time, I do give commentary along the way because it's my channel and that's how I rock it. All right. So, love you guys. Be good. And until the next one, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.